A very nice part 2. Part 2, we'll be talking about yesterday we talked in past. Remember? That was the mission yesterday's class. Let me give you a little presentation. Okay. So yesterday we learned about there was and there has been. No? The last part that we checked was about the situation. There has been a situation. There has been a problem. There has been an issue. Or, like Val said, there hasn't been any events recently. That's also possible, no? The positive and negative existence of situations, problems, issues, contains murders, etc. you know. Now that we are talking in past, it's important to start the introduction, the the next uh, the next classes. We are going to continue talking in past, and this is going to be something important to consider for the next classes. Okay, we need to remember that we are talking about the existence, but now we are going to implement actions, verbs and actions that happened in the past. This is going to be a new formula and a new structure. So let's talk about it. For this lesson, we are going to give a special emphasis to greens. You know, there's not going to be a lot of orange. Actually, we need to eliminate the orange. Possibly we are going to use some yellows because we are going to speak about, we're going to talk about time, connectors, etc. But of course, very importantly, also, we're going to speak about persons. So persons are colored. Anyone? Persons are colored.
Blue?
Yeah, that's okay. Very good. Color blue. There we go. In this case, color blue is going to be just pesos. Okay? Talking about the situation, let's start with the first question. How do you say in English, ¿te comiste mis chocorroles? Translate the following idea. ¿Te comiste mis... Let's make it American, Twinkies.
Has been?
Okay, has been.
Is question.
It's a question. That is incorrect. Eliminate has been. In this case, we are talking about an has been is for existence, you know?
Yes.
And this is an action. Okay? So the question, the expression is going to be very, very, very different. Let me help you with a new formula.
Okay. Did.
Exactly. The popular and the famous did and a simple verb. When you are asking a question in English, you need to use an auxiliary first. This is going to be the first situation. In a question in English, you need an auxiliary. And I need to give a little review of an auxiliary. What is an auxiliary? Every time you make a question, you need an auxiliary. So let's try
Teacher,
to analyze this. Yes.
no important the persons. Every I need just it whatever or yes, whatever person.
Very good. Correct. It's not important he, she, it. It's not important plural person, singular person. For all the persons, I, you, we, they, etc., we need did.
Okay.
Which is, that was a very, very good question. When you are talking about questions in past, the person is not important. But when you are talking about questions in present, it is important. So let's talk about the difference. Okay. Let's bring it over here. What is an auxiliary? So it's very clear that in English, you always need an auxiliary, no? This is for questions, exclusive for questions. An auxiliary is a helper, an assistant, how can I tell you? And yes, the only word is assistant or helper. The assistant has a boss, right? The helper has an official person. For example, if you have person number one is the assistant in the doctor's office, for example. The assistant to the doctor is the, do you know how do you say enfermera in English?
No, teacher. Nurse.
Very good, nurse. The assistant to the, let's say, the assistant to the manager is the, how do you say recepcionista? How do you say another word? Yes, recepcionista. Do you know?
Secretary. No.
Secretary. Very good. Excellent. The assistant to the doctor is a nurse. The assistant to the manager is a secretary. The assistant to the verb is the auxiliary. And similar to in this logic, we need to mentalize that auxiliaries are necessary in English to assist the time. The auxiliary determines time. When you ask a question in present, you need to use do and then the person that corresponds. In this case, like Danny said, I, they, we, or you. right? But if I want to ask a question about things, momentary actions, what happens in this case? Does anyone know the answer? Let's remember momentary actions in previous classes.
Have you ever?
Have you ever? Incorrect. We haven't seen this expression in the past.
Has
Can you
been.
repeat, Viridiana? Has been incorrect. Momentary actions. It's not, remember, has been is for recent events.
Yes.
Recent. But for momentary actions, let's make memory.
Any?
Any, incorrect. Any is contability. Any is a number. This is very, very different. Let's go back. And let's talk about momentary actions. Momentary present. At this moment, right now, in this moment.
Will?
Almost. No, because will is future.
Yes.
Will is future, is a promise. Will is a prediction. But a momentary action?
Going to?
Exactly. Going to. Okay, be careful. Going to eliminate to. The action is going. You know? Look at these examples. Studying, running, renting, taking, going. You see? A momentary action is an action that is happening in this moment and will finish later. So let's complete the formula. If you are talking about momentary actions, you need an ing verb, right? What is necessary for the ing verb?
Be?
Correct. Very good. So then with this structure, I can understand that the first word that is necessary is an auxiliary. And the auxiliary is determining the time. If you say be, you need ing. If you say do, you need a simple verb. Example. Example about a question in present. Do you have do you have an iPhone? Here you have the auxiliary do and the verb have in present. If you are talking about the other, You need to change. Are you having dinner in this moment? As you can see, it's the same verb, but in a different context. You see? Everything is thanks to the auxiliary. Taking that into consideration, we're going to use the new formula. Using did and simple verb to talk in past. Did you eat the last ice cream? This is a question in past. What difference do you see? Much difference, or yeah, what do you see here?
I see 3 different times.
Yeah. Mhm. 3 different times corresponding to 3 different auxiliaries. And the auxiliary correspond to 3 different forms of the verb. You know? So in English, you need to dominate and to master the relation between the auxiliary and the verb. Because the verb is like is in constant evolution, in constant change. The verb exists in present, exists in simple form, simple form, past, past participle, and ing. Okay. And these forms have a close connection and close relation to the verb. So let's collocate a little heart, because there is a close connection. Where is the heart? Where is the heart? Here is the heart. There is a close connection between the verb and the corresponding auxiliary. Be careful, eh? This is not the time. This is not the time. This is the form. the form of the verb. The auxiliaries that we have seen in this moment is the verb be, which is, are, am, was, and were, and have been. Do and does, and did. And with this, we need to know the correct combinations between them. The correct combinations are in the structures handbook that I sent you at the beginning of the course. Structures handbook over here. Okay. This handbook is a manual that includes all the possible combinations between the auxiliary and the verb. Auxiliary and verb. Auxiliary and verb. In this document, you have all this information that I am speaking about. This is the form of the verb corresponding to one auxiliary. Let's talk about questions. Do you understand? Do you have questions? What do you see in this case?
Teacher, now I'm processing
Oh.
my my head processing all the information.
Okay, yes. So probably we need examples. We need examples
Yes.
and analysis, no?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to a little exercise, okay? Exercise where we are going to detect the auxiliary and the verb, okay? Yeah, because this is grammar. I am speaking about grammar in this moment, but grammar is super necessary in this case, only in this situation. Okay, here we go. Exercise. Let's find. There are some questions. Find the auxiliary and the verb in the following questions. Okay. The premise in this case is that all the questions need an auxiliary. No? So let's talk about it. Question number 1. Have you ever been to Guanajuato? Did you go to the dentist this morning? Where have you been? Are you sick? Am I speaking too fast? Does your mom like American food? How Are you? How often do you practice? How often do you buy groceries? Was the band playing? Yes. Has there been a problem, sir? All the questions that I wrote in this moment are examples from previous classes. Okay? All of them exist in previous classes. Let's analyze and let's find the auxiliary and the verb. Number one. Go, Val. What's the verb? Let's find the verb first. What's the verb in this case?
The verb is ever.
Ever. Incorrect.
Oh,
The
been.
verb, yeah, very good.
Been. Yes.
The verb is always the action. This is something you need to, that's gonna help you understand. The verb is the action of the sentence. So when you don't have an idea of what is a verb, you need to think about the action. Okay.
Okay.
Then what is the assistant to been?
The assistant. Have.
That is totally correct. Very good. So the auxiliary is have and the verb is been. Don't think in Spanish, because in Spanish have is a specific translation. In English, there is no definition for have in this case. You see? Together, we are talking about have plus been is the structure number 5 in your structures handbook. This is context number, number 6, which includes have and has and verb in past participle. This is the next classes. Okay. Six. Let's go to the next. Number 2. Vianney. Find the auxiliary and the verb.
Auxiliary is did. And
Perfect.
the verb is go.
Correct. Totally correct. Let me just a second. Did and go. That's correct. Very good. When you are talking about did plus go, you are talking about its structure number 5. in the Structures Handbook. Finished actions, events in a specific past. Did plus simple verb. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
The next. Where have you been? Go, Jesse.
Where have you been?
Yes.
Find the auxiliary. The auxiliary is, I think, have and been.
Is have and been. Okay. Is that the auxiliary? Is that the verb? Or which one is which?
The auxiliary is have.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The verb is been.
Very good.
Where have you been? I
Excellent.
have been in house. For
I have been in
example,
my house. Exactly. Context, all the day,
I have been in my
recently,
house all the day, all the week, all the
all the
month.
week. Exactly.
Oh,
Every day.
yeah.
No
Every
change.
day.
That's okay. That's okay. No problem. Uh-huh. Exactly. Have you been? Here we have again the same pattern in number 1. Have plus verb in past participle is structure number 6. The next. Viridiana, what is the auxiliary and the verb in this case? This is a deep one, eh? Be patient.
Auxiliary is are.
Totally correct. Yes.
Verb is seek.
Sounds good. But seek is a description.
Uh-huh.
Then this is impossible. Okay.
Uh-huh.
In this case, verb be is an exception.
Do. Okay.
Verb be is both auxiliary and verb simultaneously.
Okay.
Together. That's the reason verb be is so special, because the verb be has a double function. Verb be is an auxiliary and it's a verb.
Okay.
This particular structure one be plus description is structure number 1. Observe. We go to number 1. Descriptions, locations, and jobs.
Teacher, other example of this form.
The verb be?
Example, are you sick? What other example for?
It's possible. Think about a description. Give me an example of a description.
Description.
Give me one description.
I think, teacher.
Yes.
Mm,
Or help guys. What is the description?
Are you boring or are you
Boring,
sad?
for example. Sad, that's another. Sad, bored, boring, important,
big,
intelligent,
small.
big, small,
Okay.
fantastic, which is very interesting. When we learn English, the most common problem is when people say a question with the verb be. For example, if you question, ¿estás bien? This expression in Spanish, ¿estás bien? Solamente tiene dos palabras, right? If you think in English, it's very difficult because you have three words. You are okay. And now I need to collocate the words in the correct position. You are okay. In the formula, the question needs the verb be first. Are you okay? So it's very common that students say, you are okay. You are okay is incorrect.
Is are you okay?
Exactly. Is are you okay? Because the position determines the question. You switch and it's an affirmation. You switch and it's a question. And in English, the position is super, super important. How do you say, for example, in English, eso es muy común. ¿Está buena esa película? Como cuando preguntas si vale la pena verla. ¿Está buena esa película? Translate this in English.
Eat good.
So, eat good. Okay, eat good. And the verb be?
It is It is movie good.
Movie good. Okay. You have four components. It is movie good. Movie and it is the same. Duplicate information.
Okay.
Select it or movie.
It.
Okay. Eliminate movie.
It is good.
Perfect. It is good is excellent, but now this is an affirmation.
Is it good?
This is a question. Very good.
Okay.
Is it good?
Is it good? Okay.
Answer, yes, it is good. Switch.
Switch.
That's the importance of the verb be. The verb be is so important in English. And the position, not the verb be, the position of words is super relevant in English. I want you to remember this. Have this in your mind. The position of words is very, very important in English. Okay. Let's go now to the next. Val, find auxiliary and verb in number 5.
The verb is speaking and the auxiliary is am.
Correct. The verb is speaking and the auxiliary is am. Very good. This structure, be plus ing verb, is structure number 4. Number 3, I think. Yes, number 3. Number 3, ing verbs. Momentary actions using ing. Right? Do you agree? The next. Yes. Find auxiliary and verb number 6.
The auxiliary is does
Mhm.
and the verb is like.
Very good. That's correct. Does or do plus simple form verb is structure number 2 in the structure handbook. Routines and possessions. Do and does and the simple verb.
Yes.
Mhm. Perfect. Next, Vianney, what's the auxiliary and verb in number 6?
The auxiliary maybe is the same the number 4.
Correct. Because it's only the verb be, no?
Yes, are is the verb.
Totally
Maybe
correct.
auxiliary.
And maybe auxiliary. This is an exclusion. This is verb be. Plus description. In structure 1. Viridiana, help me find the auxiliary and the verb in number 8.
Sorry.
No problem.
Auxiliary is do
Auxiliary is do. Correct.
and verb is buy.
Yes, of course. Correct. Here we are speaking about formula or structure number 2. Do and does. The simple verb with structure 2. Number 9. Val, find the auxiliary and the verb.
The verb is playing and
Mhm.
auxiliary was.
Perfect. That's correct. Was, where, plus verb. ing verb is structure number 5. No, number 4. In the structure handbook. You see? It's ing, but it's in past. Was and were. Okay. The last one. Tell me auxiliary and verb. Yes.
The question, the 10th question is according to the structure set six.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
The
Which is
verb
auxiliary.
is been.
Uh-huh.
The auxiliary has.
Perfect. There you have it, girl. There you have it. As you can see, exactly you are correct. Structure 6, similar to the number 1, number 3. And this is in the structure handbook. So today, the class has a lot of grammar. Okay. Today, you studied the different, how can I tell you? The different formulas that exist in English and how to identify the correct formula. Because in the next classes, we will make combinations of these structures. A normal conversation in English is a combination of formulas. So you need to understand the context and the correct position of words, the correct application, verbs in past, verbs in present, correct pronunciation of verbs, expansion of vocabulary, etc. All of this is the introduction to formulas in English. I will help you with this in the next classes. So, do you have any question?
Teacher, can you send this some word or?
Sure.
Yeah,
The handbook.
Handbook.
Yeah, the handbook, of course. This handbook will be fundamental for you, for everybody. Please study it very, very, very well. Okay. I send you the handbook later, and I have to go to the next class, but I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you,
Perfect.
teacher.
Thank
Have a
you.
very good
See
week.
you.
See you later.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.